What's up, fellow children? White man bingo. Disgusting how wholesome this shit is. Shit hit the fan. Yes! Hi! Hey! Hi. It's me, your Void. So today we are doing the Reader's Profile tag, which is an alternative to the BookTube newbie tag thing. And I was tagged by Jess from This Kiwi about a bajillion years ago. And just recently I was tagged again by Kirsty from K-Beth Bookish. So peer pressure took over and now I'm filming this video. So there are 10 questions to this tag. Some are easy to answer, some are less easy to answer, and let's go before I start rambling again, because I will be rambling. The first question is, what makes a good book for you? And that has to be the hardest question to answer, because it literally depends on the book I'm reading. Take these two books as an example. Both of these are on the list of my favorite reads of all time. But if the Starless Sea tried to do what Promise of Blood did, it wouldn't be a good book. Likewise, Promise of Blood wouldn't be a good book if it tried to do what Starless Sea was doing. Now, these two are of a very different genre, I get that, but even inside the same genre, it depends on the story that is promised to me. So I can't really say what makes a good book for me, because it depends on a lot of things. What I can say is that there are 3 things that can make or break a book for me. 1, the pacing, 2, the stakes, and 3, the characters. I like stories that go places. I like stories that move, be it external action sequences where everything blows up, or an internal conflict where a character has to come to terms with everything. Basically, stagnation equals death. Might be my ADHD talking, who knows. But if your characters are absolute idiots and they get stuck all the time, then I will probably yeet your book into oblivion. What makes a good book is not etched in stone. It is not a fixed constant in the universe. It changes depending on the story that I'm consuming, the book that I'm reading. It depends. It all depends. It's all in the eye of the beholder, so to speak. Question 2 asks me what I'm currently reading. Technically, that's a lot of books. Technically, I'm reading Guns of the Dawn by Adrian Tchaikovsky, City of Dusk by Tara Sim, and The Near Witch by V. Schwab. But those are my soft DNFs, so they will be on the currently reading list for a bit longer. What I'm actively reading right now is Arc of a Scythe by Neil Shusterman, which is a reread for me because I just needed something quick and easy and exciting, and I remember that this book took me by storm. I distinctly remember finishing this one on the day that book 2 was released in Germany, and my mother was on her way to a mall where a bookshop was, and I was like, can I come with you? I need book 2 like right now. And I actually went into the bookshop, picked up book 2 while someone was trying to sell another customer book 1, and that customer was very skeptic about the book. And the bookseller didn't know how to describe the book, so I just barged into the conversation and sold book 1 to this person while I was clutching book 2 on my way to the checkout. Happy memories with this one, which is why I'm rereading this one right now. I am also currently reading Stranger Times by C.K. McDonnell, which is hilarious. I picked it up on a whim. This is one of those books where you just know this could be a serial, like the Alex Verus books or the Rivers of London series, which you can't see because there is a bat in the way. And just like those 2 serials, this one is very British in its humor, and it is cracking me up left, right, and center. I laughed out loud. I snort laughed out loud in the first 40 pages multiple times. I am now 116 pages into this. We have slowed down on the giggles, but it's still hilariously stupid and fun and just all over the place. It's my kind of chaos, and I love it. So that's what I'm currently reading. It's a lot of books, technically. Whoopsies! The third question is, what is my, or was my last DNF and why? And for that one, I go with another Mysterious April read. This one is Mind Reader by Ian Leveson, but honestly, I can't be asked to look up the pronunciation of this man's name because, oh my god, I DNF'd this not even 15% into the book. Simply because, A, this is a book with a main character in his early 30s, but it was written by a guy in his mid-50s. And it shows. It's very much giving the meme of the "What's up, fellow children?" It's so bad. It is so bad. It's so bad, in fact, that our main character in his internal monologue says that he, in his early 30s, doesn't know dating culture, and all of those young people in their 20s don't know what they are talking about. That was strike one. Strike two, oh my god, what is happening to my hair? Strike two is the fact that we have white man bingo. What do I mean with white man bingo? Well, we have homophobia, we have misogyny, we have sexism, we have racism, we are hating on sex workers on Maine? The way this book is written, you don't even have to look at the author picture to know that this is written by an elderly, white, cis, hetero man. This is what he looks like. And now you can imagine how his writing is. So, strike two was the white man bingo. Strike three was when this man decided that his main character was a police officer, a white police officer, and according to his own words, a good-looking white police officer. This good-looking white police officer had the audacity, and I have to look at my notes here for this in order to get this right. This is the point where I bailed. He wrote he just casually sprinkled in a whole paragraph about how a white male cop getting insulted by a rich white kid is the same as experiencing racism. Yeah, that was the point where I violently threw this book across the room, then I put it back into its dust jacket and parked it promptly under my desk so I wouldn't have to look at it anymore. Right now I only have it in my hand because I had not yet the opportunity to unhaul this book. The only good news is I didn't pay anything for this because this came from a free little library, and back to the free little library it will go. Honestly, I'm gonna shove it into the shadows right now. Fuck off. On to better things. Question number 4 asks me to name an obscure book that I want other people to read. I give you 4. First up, we have How to Bite Your Neighbor and Win a Wager. I only have book 2 in physical copy, so I will hold it up because honestly, you should read the whole guide to dating vampires. It is just so wholesome. It's disgusting how wholesome this shit is. This is queer vampires, and in this one we have also some really good representation of multitudes of mental health issues, and vampirism itself is treated more like a disability, so that's cool. Also, we stick it to Big Pharma. Yay. Another obscure book I want people to read more is Battle Mage by Peter A. Flannery. I have read many a book in my time. Rarely has a book such cinematic writing as this one. You can see it in my tabs. I didn't tab the first 250 pages because it was so cinematic. That final battle, we were on a vacation and I had to share a room with my sibling. You can ask them how much I gasped at this book when the shit hit the fan on page 200 to 250. Oh my god, this is so good. More people should read it, and I'm so glad that we are getting, I think we're getting a prequel or a sequel, one of those things. But Peter A. Flannery, after years, is like, yeah, I'm just gonna write another book for this. Yes! Then, of course, how can I not? I have to recommend the Sex Wizards series by Alethea Faust, because who comes up with the idea to a kink-based magic system and then delivers on it in the best way possible? I have reviewed this book before. This is queer joy, front to back. Yes! We have representation for everything under the sun and across the universe. And everyone is just happy. I mean, there is some angst going on and some plot has to be developed, so there is some drama, but oh my god, it's so good. Given this is 75 to 90% smut, but, and hear me out, it's wholesome smut. It's the kinkiest shit I've ever read besides Cleo Evans, but it's strangely wholesome. So yeah, I need more people to read this because Alethea Faust is really good at writing books. And book number 4 that I want people to read more is Blackheart Ghosts by Laure Eve. Because bisexual knights on motorcycles in a neo-noir punk world based on a Arthurian legend? Yes! I can't even accurately describe that book. It is so good. It is so good, and I need people to read it so I can scream about the book with other people. Go read it. Question number 5 wants me to name the biggest book I have ever read, and that would be The Wizard's First Rule by Terry Goodkind, with 1078 pages. For a man who says he's not writing fantasy, that's an awful lot of fantasy! It also gives off the vibe of 2 different books in one. Because at one point, Richard, our main character, goes missing and has a completely removed storyline from everyone else, which is why we don't hear from anyone else. And I'm pretty sure I know things about Mr. Goodkind's kinks that I didn't want to know. They say not to speak ill of the dead. I beg to differ. Question number 6 is a fun one. It wants me to have a dinner party with 5 fictional characters. First of all, I don't do dinner parties, so this is a disaster from the get-go. Second of all, the characters I would be inviting, oh my god. I want to have a dinner party between Tamas and or Olam from Promise of Blood, with Gavin from the Black Prism, with Gideon from the Locked Tomb, with the Thunderhead from the Scythe trilogy, even though technically the Thunderhead doesn't need to have a dinner party, and Will and or Garrett from Blackheart Knights. It would be an absolute disaster. It would be an absolute disaster. There would be so much strategizing going on for different kind of scenarios that would probably never happen, given that a lot of these are military leaders. Like Tamas is a field marshal, Orlem is like his right-hand man and flies through the ranks. Gavin is a military leader. Gideon is just here for the chaos. Gideon is probably just sitting in a corner eating. The Thunderhead is probably just advising on the strategies the boys come up with. And Will and Garrett would probably... They would either join Gideon and just eating, or they would start strategizing with everyone else. Probably both. Like, all of these are warriors in some kind of way, which tells you a lot about what I read. But yeah, that would probably be less of a dinner party and more of a war council or something. But yeah, it would probably be hilarious because all of them have strangely similar vibes and or humors. So yeah. Question number 7 wants me to name 5 books I would like to strand on an abandoned empty island with. And for that one, I take a page out of Jess's book and think about a intelligent choice, which would be The Book, aka The Ultimate Guide to Rebuilding Civilization, because that book has literally everything in it you need to rebuild civilization after everything is just blank slate. So on an abandoned empty island, I would probably like to rebuild a civilization of one. Me. And this book is the perfect survival guide for that. Of course, the next 4 picks I have are for entertainment purposes only. Book 1 being The Invisible Life of Eddie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. This is one of the few books that got an emotional reaction from me. Right now, I don't have it in my vicinity because I have the ugly blue cover, and a friend of mine said she can rebind it for me so that it fits with the typical red, blue, and white cover color thing that V.E. Schwab has going on. So I get my own unique personalized version of The Invisible Life of Eddie LaRue. But I would take that one because that is a reread I can do every year because it hurts every time I read it. Then book 2 would be Blackheart Knights by Laure Eve, because action-packed cool things on motorcycles. Yes. Third book would be 13 Stories by Jonathan Sims, head archivist of the Magnus Institute, London. Because this is a bunch of horror short stories in a trench coat to form a book. There is an overarching storyline in here, but you can also just read individual things, and it's very intriguing to read this, and I think I need to have a wide variety of genres to keep me happy, and this is one of the few horror books that I actually really enjoyed. So this is going to go with me on my island cruise. And then again, Battle Mage by Peter A. Flannery going to come with me because cinematic writing and epic fantasy and dragons and magic and blah, love it. Gotta take it with me. And that stack pretty much covers all my different reading tastes, plus some stuff that I actually need to know to survive because I'm really bad at doing that. And yeah, that should tide me over until I can hitch a ride on a very overpriced cruise ship that comes across my horizon line. Or maybe I just start talking to a basketball, who knows. Question number 8, a book I could not put down. And for that one, I have to pick Galant by V.E. Schwab. I read this in like 2 days, and it's only 2 days because I started this late in the evening, so I was tired and I actually had to go to sleep in between reading. So I probably would have gotten through this in one sitting, but apparently the flesh suit wanted to sleep, so... Question number 9. 5 authors I would never read. That is an easy one. Colleen Hoover, because no. Sarah J. Maas, because no. Rebecca Yarros, because no. Jay Kristoff, because no. And then you get a bonus round of authors I have read but would never read again, which is Brandon Sanderson, Friedrich Schiller, and Joe Abercrombie. Why am I not going to read any books of them? Well, quite honestly, because they are all problematic in their own kind of way. There are enough video essays out there about all of these to tell you why, so I'm not going to list every single reason for that. But yeah, Colleen Hoover, Sarah J. Maas, Rebecca Yarros, Jay Kristoff, these 4 can go fuck themselves. I am very happy of consuming every way too long video essay that slanders them. If you have any I haven't watched yet, gimme, because yes, I am so here for some pettiness. And Brandon Sanderson and Joe Abercrombie, I will never read from them again because I just don't like what they do. I think their books are very overhyped for what they are. I know Joe Abercrombie is hyped for his great character work, and I have to say, I read the first Law trilogy and I was bored out of my mind by everything that happened. And especially in the 3rd book, I was confused by everything that happened. And honestly, if you write a trilogy that only makes sense after you read like the next 6 books in the series, no. If you say you write a trilogy, write a trilogy. Same goes for Brandon Sanderson. If I have to read 3,000 pages to get to the point where the plot shows up, you're doing something wrong, my man. Listen, if you enjoy these authors, go and enjoy these authors. But don't pester me about how great they are, because for me, they are not. Now, the one name that may be a bit strange in here is Friedrich Schiller. He's a classical author, a friend of Goethe. Very famous German classic author. I don't even know. That's like old school literature. Like, think 1800s. I'm okay with Goethe's texts. I had to read both of them in school, and I'm okay with Goethe's texts. That man he writes interesting stories, I guess. Friedrich Schiller, oh my god. I like to hate on Friedrich Schiller on main, because that man was such a try-hard. That man was such a stalker fan of Goethe. He tried so desperately for Senpai to notice him, and Senpai did notice him and said, ugh, you're bleh. And Friedrich Schiller didn't leave him alone, so there you have some historical beef from Germany, I guess. But yeah, I had to read one book by Friedrich Schiller, and it broke me, honestly, it broke me. Friedrich Schiller broke me. And I hate him for it. So if I ever have to read a classic ever again, I'm not going to pick up a Friedrich Schiller, because no. Question number 10 is another fun one. It says, if you were to write a book, what would the book be about? Well, take your pick. I have gay cowboys, polyamorous vampires. I have the 3 Musketeers, but with magic. I have a zombie apocalypse, but with angels. I have the show Farscape. I have a serial killer based on the song sung by the Boogeyman in the film Nightmare Before Christmas. And many more. I have like a little box in my brain with all of the novel ideas. Somewhere in there is a King Midas retelling that exploded into a trilogy at one point. There are 9 different contemporary semi-supernatural romance books in there. Take your pick, honestly. Some of these already exist in first draft form, and some of them I have recently started to write, if you are interested. So yeah, that is my horrible, horrible hair featuring the reader's profile tag. If you made it this far into the video, leave the detective emoji in the comments, I guess. And I see you in the next video. Bye!